Hello, we're back with My Louisiana Sky, Chapter 6. This is Mr. Daniels, and we are going to go ahead and get started reading here. Chapter 6, we learn about an addiction that Mama has, and I am wondering if a few of my YouTube followers out there might have this same addiction as well. Mama is addicted to watching television, and we're going to go ahead and get started reading here. We'll find out Tiger's reactions to that, not to mention Granny's, and see exactly where this takes us. So let's go ahead and begin Chapter 6. Life started to change all around me after that day in the gym. Sometimes I looked at Mama and Daddy and my face heated up thinking about what they might do next to embarrass me. Other times, I thought about some of my best memories with them and I felt ashamed. Like the time when I was 9 and we went to the Louisiana State Fair in Shreveport. Granny sat on a bench while Daddy, Mama, and I rode the Ferris wheel. Each time our cart left the ground, Daddy said, "Here we go, up, 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 up." On the ride down, Mama and I squealed the whole way. We rode the Ferris wheel 16 times. We would have rode it 17 times, but I got sick and threw up. One thing that bothered me about Mama was her television watching. Seemed like she stayed glued to that TV from the day I turned it on. She hurried through her chores, then plopped onto her bed pillow on the floor 2 feet from the set and watched everything from Howdy Doody to The Guiding Light. She watched late into the night until they played the national anthem before ending the day's broadcast. As soon as the music started, Mama stood at attention, placed her hand over her heart, and sang out in a flat tone, "Oh, say, can you see?" Daddy soon tired of the television, and Granny called it the noise box. He was happiest working with his hands and never sat down much. "Don't see much point in sitting and watching other people live their lives," he'd say. When his day ended at the nursery, he worked in Granny's garden. Before Aunt Dory K bought the television, Mama watched Daddy every day, the same way she waited for me to come home from school. From the road, her face looked like a doll's perched at the window between the parted calico curtains. By the time Daddy reached the top porch steps, she flung open the door, dashed up to him, threw her arms around his skinny body. Then she pressed and puckered her lips on his. They held each other for the longest time. Sometimes the way Mama and Daddy oogled each other made me blush. But I couldn't tell you why. I only know Mama acted as if Daddy was as handsome as Marlon Brando, and Lord knows he wasn't. Couple days after we went to the bookmobile, Mama didn't greet Daddy at the door. He marched back down the porch steps again and stomped back up in his heavy boots. Tromp, tromp, tromp. The screen door squeaked open, and he slowly opened the front door and peeked into the room. His smile disappeared when he discovered her sitting cross-legged in front of the evening news with Edward R. Murrow. He cleared his throat. "Hello, Corina. How was your day?" She glanced his way, then blew him a kiss. She had seen an actress do that on TV. He ran his fingers through his hair and raised his voice, competing with Mr. Murrow's hypnotic tone. "I said, how was your day?" She barely turned her chin. "The Reds are shaking hands with the Americans." Mama had no idea Red was a communist. She just heard someone say it on television. Daddy slammed the back door, causing Granny's rising bread loaves to flatten. Granny sighed and shook her head. Next morning, I told Granny she wanted to help me get the laundry off the clothesline before a summer storm settled in. She stretched her arms out in front of her, spun in a circle, and imitated Jackie Gleason from The Honeymooners Show. "To the moon, Alice, to the moon," she said. I couldn't have a conversation with anyone without her saying something she'd heard on television. Later in the afternoon, Mama settled in front of the television again. Her voice chirped in glee. "It's howdy doody time!" How many other mothers out there watch stupid puppet shows? Abby Lynn and the other girls would laugh if they caught sight of Mama on her pillow, engrossed in a kiddie program. Thank goodness for Granny. Standing beside her in the warm kitchen, I chopped celery as she added spices to the chicken gumbo on the stove. A feed sack apron surrounded her waist. Smells good, Granny." "Well, thank you, sugar. I ordered some more chicks today." "You did?" "Mm-hmm. She'll be here by next week sometime. Why don't you go watch television with your mama? You've helped me plenty, and dinner will be ready soon enough." I glanced at Mama, watching the goofy, freckled puppet and his sidekick, Buffalo Bob. Grabbing a damp rag, I wiped the formica table. That's okay. I don't like that dumb show. Don't know why anyone would like it. Anyone with sense wouldn't." Granny arched an eyebrow. "You mean anyone but your mama?" I rubbed the cloth viciously over a scratch. "I didn't say that." I felt shame speaking my mind, but Granny was the only person I could talk to. Maybe she could shed light on my feelings for Mama and Daddy. Drying her hands on the apron, she asked, "Somebody say something about your mama, Tiger?" "Not exactly." "Not exactly means usually yes or no. Which is it?" Well, I told her about what happened at the gym. Mama giggled at the show. No need to worry about her overhearing me. A hurricane wouldn't faze her. Granny listened patiently, leaning over the kitchen counter. When I finished my story, she said, "People are afraid of what's different. That don't mean different is bad. Just means different is different." I knew Granny was right, but the words couldn't help my problem. They couldn't give Mama and Daddy smarter brains or get me invited to Abby Lynn's swimming party. I didn't tell Granny I wished Mama wasn't different. Maybe she suspected already, because as I left the kitchen, she squeezed in the last word. "Perhaps those girls don't deserve your friendship. Besides, you have Jessie Wade." My class had 11 students, and those girls were the only ones in my class. How would I survive 7th grade with Jessie Wade Thompson as my only friend? That week, Daddy stomped around the house so hard it shook. He slammed doors until 2 jars of fig preserves fell from a shelf and broke. Then Granny made a new rule. Only 2 hours of television a day. Mama pleaded. When that didn't work, she pouted. But Granny didn't budge or back down. Pretty soon our routine returned to what it had been before the noise box came into our lives. Mama slowed her pace and took more time with the chores. Daddy got hugs and kisses, but I still didn't get invited to Abby Lynn's swimming party. Maybe Abby Lynn had tried to call. Since we shared a phone line with 4 other families, it might have been busy, especially since Miss Eula was one of those other people. Then, one night as I lay in my back in the cool grass watching fireflies dance against an ebony sky, a thought occurred to me. Abby Lynn was a fancy person. She would probably do everything real proper. Maybe she had sent paper invitations through the mail. There might be one waiting in our mailbox that very minute. But the evening was too dark to walk the half mile to see if my hunch was right. I would have to wait until the next day. Couple things grabbed me about this chapter. Number one, the importance of being invited to a party. Not sure if you've ever had that before, where you just really want to be invited to so-and-so's birthday party. Maybe they're popular, and a ticket to that party is like just absolute glory for you. Because when you think about it, popularity to a 7th grader, it means the world to them. And for Tiger to be invited to the most popular girl in town, Abby Lynn, man, wouldn't that be a big thing there? Um, the other thing about this chapter that I can't help but discuss here at the end is once again Mama, and I definitely see a childish personality in her, and I was curious whether what you guys thought of that. Do you guys think that Mama has something wrong? Was she born this way? Do you think something happened to her in her life? There's a lot of questions about that the book certainly has not discussed yet, but you should be thinking about that stuff as you go through here. Well, we're going to go ahead and close up chapter 6 and move on to chapter 7. So thank you so much for listening to me on YouTube here, and we're going to go ahead and close this bad boy out.